The Oklahoma City Thunder are possibly the most unstoppable team in all of basketball right now, and they just beat the LA Clippers with no player over the size of 6'5", and their starting lineup was Jalen Williams, Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, Isaiah Joe, Aaron Wiggins, and Lou Dort, and they beat the Clippers 134-128, and were able to actually compete against a team who has a solid front court despite not having a single player in their starting lineup over 6'6". And this team is not even at the peak of their powers yet, but we are seeing them play incredible basketball, which has led them to the first seed in the Western Conference as of now at 9-2, and that's without their top three centers, and that being Isaiah Hartenstein and Chet Holmgren mainly. And with Isaiah Hartenstein being their main offseason acquisition alongside Alex Caruso, this team was really excited to have him in the lineup, but unfortunately haven't been able to have him as he's out until at least Christmas. And Chet Holmgren just had a pelvic fracture. It's going to keep him about 8 to 10 weeks. But this team didn't miss a beat against the Clippers. And obviously they struggled a little bit on the defensive side of the basketball, but they still had a elite scoring game from Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, and this team is so deep both offensively and defensively that it's hard to imagine anyone else standing in their way to the 1 seed in the West and at least a conference finals appearance, if not an NBA finals appearance this season. Last year, OKC was a little bit outmanned in terms of playoff experience in the playoffs, but I do believe that coming back this season, especially with the lineup that they have and the lineup that they will have come playoff time, with Isaiah Hartenstein and Chet Holmgren both coming back around Christmas or maybe a bit later and having months to get in a groove before the playoffs, this team is going to look very scary. And as of right now, going into their next game, they have two players averaging over 20 points a game in Jalen Williams, who's sitting at 20 points a game exactly with 51% shooting from the field and 40% from the three-point line, as well as 6.5 rebounds and 5 assists a game. And he's also an elite wing defender as well. And this team is not only elite offensively, but amazing defensively as well. And pair that with Shai Gilgeous-Alexander's 27.8 points per game with 50% shooting from the field and 6.5 assists a game, as well as him being one of the most dominant on-ball defenders in the entire NBA. This team is scary good in the backcourt. And then you add on their depth pieces, which includes guys like Alex Caruso and Isaiah Joe, Lou Dort, who's averaging 10 points a game and is one of the best defenders in the league. And then Chet Holmgren, for the first 10 games of the season, was averaging 16.5 points a game and 8 rebounds a game, as well as being an incredible shot blocker as well. This team is really primed for success going into this season and into the playoffs this year, and they seem like the perfect team to even compete with the Boston Celtics in the finals, because they have the same combination of stars as well as stars who can play defense like the Boston Celtics. What got Dallas into the trouble in last year's NBA Finals is that Kyrie Irving and Luka Doncic couldn't defend to the same level as Boston's stars. And obviously Boston was just the better team in that series. But at the end of the day, they have a team in Boston that can defend as well as score. And when you look at OKC right now, they look like a very similar team in that they can all score and all defend. OKC has 5 players above 10 points per game, and that doesn't even include Isaiah Joe, who's sitting at 9.7 right now, and Cason Wallace, who started 4 games and averages 7.5. And both of those players are both solid defensively as well. This team looks primed for a deep playoff run, and if you compare them player for player against anyone else in the Western Conference, I don't know if there's a more complete team or a deeper team in the entire conference. And you can argue that maybe Minnesota or maybe even Dallas could compete with them. But at this very moment, the Thunder look like the Western Conference's best team, and they would be the league's best team if it wasn't for the undefeated Cleveland Cavaliers, who I'll probably make a video on pretty soon as they continue their winning streak. But OKC looks very, very, very good right now. And if they can stay afloat without their two top centers right now, they'll be even more dangerous come playoff time. Let me know where you think that they'll rank in the Western Conference standings going forward. And let me know what you think that Shai Gilgeous-Alexander will average in terms of points going forward this season. I also think that OKC has the perfect blend of a superstar player and other players who can play their role super well. If you look at most championship teams from the past few years, if you look at the Nuggets from a couple of years ago or other teams, they had their superstar MVP level player, and then they had their secondary star, and then outside of that, you had guys who can defend and score the ball as depth pieces. And OKC has that this year, as they have Jalen Williams as their secondary star, Shai is their main guy, their main MVP kind of player, and other guys who can play their role exceptionally well, such as an Alex Caruso, who's won a championship before and is very, very, very solid at playing his role as a defender and sometimes a shooter and cutter. But let me know if you think that OKC will make the NBA Finals this year, and if not, let me know who you think will. God bless you all. Have an amazing day, and make sure to subscribe to the channel. God bless.